In the annals of history, few artifacts have captivated the world like the Rosetta Stone. This ancient slab, not just a stone but a key, unlocked the long-lost language of the pharaohs. Today, we embark on a journey through time to uncover the story of the Rosetta Stone, from its creation to its crucial role in deciphering Egyptian hieroglyphs. Our story begins around 196 BCE in Egypt under the reign of King Ptolemy V. The Rosetta Stone was not a mere decorative piece, but a decree, a proclamation issued by the priests to honor the young pharaoh. The Rosetta Stone was inscribed with the same text in three different scripts: ancient Greek, Demotic, and Egyptian hieroglyphs, for a very practical and political reason. It was intended to be read and understood by a diverse population in Egypt at the time of its creation. Egyptian hieroglyphs. This was the script of religious and formal texts in ancient Egypt. Hieroglyphs were used primarily in monumental inscriptions on temples and tombs. By the time the Rosetta Stone was carved, around 196 BCE, hieroglyphs had been in use for thousands of years and were deeply embedded in the Egyptian culture and religion. However, they were complex and understood only by a small group of literate priests and scribes. Demotic. This script was the common script of Egypt. Demotic, derived from the term demotikos, meaning popular, was a simplified, cursive form of writing that developed from earlier scripts used for everyday purposes. It was the script of the people, used for a wide range of secular and religious documents. By including Demotic, the decree was made accessible to the literate Egyptian administrative class and the general populace who were familiar with this script. Ancient Greek. Following the conquest of Egypt by Alexander the Great, Greek became the language of the ruling class in Egypt. By the time of the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was of Greek origin, Greek was the language of administration and government. The Ptolemaic rulers, including Ptolemy V, who is mentioned in the Rosetta Stone, were of Greek descent and maintained Greek culture and language in their court. Therefore, including Greek on the Rosetta Stone ensured that the ruling class and Greek-speaking population could understand the decree. In 1798, Napoleon Bonaparte launched a military expedition to Egypt. This campaign was not just a military operation, but also a significant scientific and cultural endeavor. Napoleon brought with him a team of scientists, engineers, and scholars, known as the Commission des Sciences et des Arts. This group was tasked with studying and documenting Egyptian culture, history, and natural science, an early example of a systematic approach to archaeological and cultural studies. The actual discovery of the Rosetta Stone occurred in 1799. French soldiers, under the command of Lieutenant Pierre-François Bouchard, were stationed in the town of Rashid, then known as Rosetta, in the Nile Delta. They were involved in the construction of Fort Julian, or Fort St. Julian, and were fortifying the structure. While working on the fortifications, one of the soldiers noticed a slab of stone with inscriptions on it. Recognizing its potential significance, Bouchard halted the construction and examined the stone. The stone was a fragment of a larger stele and bore inscriptions in three different scripts: Greek, Demotic, and hieroglyphic. The significance of the find was immediately apparent to Bouchard and the French scholars. The presence of Greek text alongside the mysterious Egyptian scripts offered a tantalizing possibility for deciphering hieroglyphs, which had been a puzzle for scholars for centuries. The stone was promptly sent to Cairo for further examination. Scholars in Napoleon's expedition, such as Jean-Joseph Marcel, a French linguist, and the famous mathematician and physicist Joseph Fourier, who was also part of the expedition, began studying the stone. They made copies of the inscriptions, which were later distributed among European scholars. The Rosetta Stone's journey was far from over. Following the defeat of Napoleon's army in Egypt by the British and Ottoman forces, The Rosetta Stone, along with other Egyptian artifacts collected by the French, was surrendered to the British under the terms of the Capitulation of Alexandria in 1801. The stone was transported to England and presented to the British Museum in London in 1802, where it has been on public display almost continuously since then. The first significant breakthrough in deciphering the Rosetta Stone came from Thomas Young, an English polymath. Young was not a specialist in linguistics or Egyptology, which was not yet fully established as a field, but his broad scientific knowledge and curiosity drove him to study the stone. Young was among the first to suggest that some of the hieroglyphic symbols on the Rosetta Stone were phonetic, representing sounds rather than just ideas or objects. This was a crucial insight, as hieroglyphs were previously thought to be purely ideographic. Young noticed that certain groups of hieroglyphs were enclosed in oval loops, which he correctly guessed were cartouches, rings enclosing royal names. He identified the cartouches of Ptolemy and Cleopatra in the hieroglyphic section, using the Greek text as a guide. Young was able to decipher a few of the phonetic characters in the hieroglyphic text. However, his work was incomplete, and he did not fully grasp the complex grammar and structure of hieroglyphic writing. The real breakthrough in deciphering the Rosetta Stone came from a French scholar, Jean-François Champollion. Champollion was a linguistic prodigy, proficient in multiple languages, and had a deep fascination with Egypt. Champollion's work built upon Young's discoveries, but he took it much further. Champollion learned Coptic, the latest stage of the Egyptian language, which was still understood and used in the Coptic Church. This knowledge was crucial because Coptic retained many of the sounds and words of the ancient Egyptian language. In 1822, Champollion made a groundbreaking discovery. He realized that the hieroglyphs that were phonetic could represent both sounds, like letters, and whole words. He used this insight to fully decipher the cartouches and then move beyond them. Champollion determined that hieroglyphic writing was a complex system combining phonetic and ideographic elements. This understanding allowed him to read other hieroglyphic texts beyond the Rosetta Stone. Champollion's decipherment of the Rosetta Stone was a monumental achievement. It opened the door to the study of ancient Egyptian language and literature, allowing scholars for the first time in nearly 1,500 years to read the inscriptions on temples, tombs, and artifacts. This breakthrough laid the foundation for the field of Egyptology, the scientific study of ancient Egyptian history, culture, and language. Champollion's work was met with both acclaim and skepticism initially, but it was soon recognized for its groundbreaking significance. He continued to work on Egyptian hieroglyphs and published several important works, including a grammar and dictionary of ancient Egyptian. His methods and insights provided the tools for generations of Egyptologists to explore and understand the rich history of ancient Egypt. The race to decipher the Rosetta Stone was not just a scholarly pursuit, it was a journey into the heart of human civilization. It bridged the gap between the modern world and an ancient culture that had fascinated humanity for centuries. The work of Thomas Young and Jean-François Champollion, built on the foundation laid by the scholars and scientists of the Napoleonic expedition, exemplifies the power of intellectual curiosity and cross-cultural study. Their achievements remind us that our past is a shared heritage, written in stone and waiting to be rediscovered and understood. So what was written on the stone? The decree is a rather typical example of a type of document known as a Ptolemaic decree, issued during the reign of King Ptolemy V Epiphanes of Egypt. The text on the Rosetta Stone is essentially a proclamation that affirms the royal cult of the 13-year-old Ptolemy V. Here's a summary of the key points. Praise for the king. The decree begins with praise for King Ptolemy V, detailing his achievements and virtues. It describes how the king has established peace in Egypt, reinforced the security of the country, and performed various acts of generosity towards the temples and the priesthood. Specific acts of generosity. The text enumerates specific acts of the king, such as remitting taxes and debts to the crown, donating money and grain to the temples, and restoring religious practices and festivals that had been neglected. Establishment of the cult of the ruler. A significant portion of the decree is dedicated to establishing a cult in honor of Ptolemy V. This includes the erection of statues of the king in temples alongside the gods and the performance of rituals. Annual celebrations. The decree mandates the celebration of the king's coronation anniversary and his birthday in the temples across Egypt. These celebrations were to include processions and offerings. Instructions for the decree's display. The decree specifies that it should be displayed in every temple of the first, second, and third rank throughout Egypt. This is where the significance of the three scripts comes in. It ensured that the decree was readable by priests who could read hieroglyphs, the literate Egyptian population familiar with demotic, and the Greek ruling class and officials. Religious and political unity. The decree emphasizes the unity of Egypt and the harmonious relationship between the Egyptian people, the priesthood, and the Greek rulers. It served to legitimize Ptolemy V's reign and strengthen the bond between the monarchy and the religious institutions. In essence, the Rosetta Stone's text is a blend of political propaganda and religious decree typical of the Ptolemaic period. It was designed to glorify and legitimize the young Ptolemy V's rule in a period of internal unrest and external threats. The decree's presence in multiple languages reflects the multicultural nature of Ptolemaic Egypt, where Egyptian, Greek, and other cultures coexisted and interacted under the Hellenistic monarchy established by Alexander the Great's successors. The Rosetta Stone is one of the most visited artifacts in the British Museum. Its legacy extends far beyond its physical presence, symbolizing the enduring quest for knowledge and understanding across cultures and time. The stone continues to inspire linguists, historians, and cryptographers, a testament to the human spirit's relentless pursuit of the unknown.
If you're as fascinated by ancient Egypt as we are, then you won't want to miss what we have in store. At PastPixelsAI, we're dedicated to bringing history to life through engaging stories and stunning visuals. We'd love for you to be a part of our journey through the past. By liking this video and subscribing to PastPixelsAI, you're not just supporting us, but you're also ensuring that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming adventures. And don't forget to click the bell icon to get notifications for our latest videos. We promise you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next journey through time with PastPixelsAI. Until then, keep exploring and keep wondering.